Welcome to the Mid-Maine Chamber of Commerce Business Breakfast Series. My name is Kimberly Nadeau-Lindloff, and it's my pleasure to be here this morning. Before we begin our program, I want to welcome, or thank actually, our 2023 Business Breakfast Series sponsors. They include AT&T, Cross Insurance, New Dimensions Federal Credit Union, O'Donnell, Lee, McCowan and Phillips, attorneys at law, Sheridan Construction, the Morning Sentinel, which is our print media sponsor, 107.9 The Mix, our radio sponsor, and Kennebec Savings Bank, our video sponsor. I would remind you to turn off your cell phones at this time in consideration of our guests, and please don't forget to fill out the evaluations that are on the table in front of you. This is being live streamed and video recorded, which will be played back and posted on YouTube. So I'd remind you to keep your remarks clean. I hope you were able to meet today's business spotlighters out back, No Negatives Photography and United Way of Kennebec Valley. Thank you both for joining us this morning. They've donated door prizes, and they also gave $25 gift certificates, little gift cards that are at all of your seats. I want to welcome our chamber members from February, new members, Charter Communications, Hinge Collaborative, Imagine Design Company, LLC, Making Connections Travel Consultant, Next Home Northern Lights Realty, the Travis Mills Foundation, Winslow VFW Post 8835, and we want to invite you to attend our upcoming events. We have a business after hours on Wednesday, March 15th from 5:30 to 7 at Camden National Bank, downtown Waterville, hosted in the bank location that's in the Bill and Joan Alpha on Main Street Commons. We have an upcoming ribbon cutting for the United Way of Kennebec Valley on March 22nd at 3 p.m. at its new location. It's at 50 Elm Street, which is within the Chamber building, so we welcome you. And that'll give you a chance to come in and see if you need to put more business cards and brochures in the lobby. Our next business breakfast will be held right here at the Best Western on Thursday, April 13th. Our speaker will be Leslie Lenning, presenting on The Struggle is Real, looking at employee mental health. Leslie will address mental health issues in the workplace due to stressors of the pandemic, inflation, and general national unrest. Explore how employers can support your workers. We are selling out of our 60th annual award ceremony, which will be held at Enchanted Gables on April 27th from 5 to 8 p.m. The tickets are $60 each and may be reserved online at midmainechamber.com or by calling the office. And we're not kidding about that. I think we have like 50 left. So we have 25 left. So I've been away. So if you want to come, you need to do it. We're not joking. Mark your calendars for the largest trade show in Central Maine. Our Business to Business Showcase features booths for members only, free admission and parking, and a $1,000 cash prize drawing the day of the event. This year's event will be held at Thomas College, which is a change of venue, in its field house, which is right next to the parking, on May 18th from noon to 6. Reserve your booth now by emailing Cindy at midmainechamber.com. Today's speaker, Sarah Davies of ProSearch, will present on developing and enhancing your employment brand to attract more top talent and ensure qualification and fit of candidates for your team. When you're asking questions, please wait until we get a microphone to you so that your questions will be captured on our video. Brandy will be coming around with the microphone. It is my pleasure to introduce Michelle Jolalabi. She's the Vice President of Human Resources and Diversity at Thomas College. She's also our board chair, and she's going to introduce Sarah. Michelle?
Good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce Sarah Davies, CPC, Recruiting Manager for IT Direct Hire. Sarah works with local and national candidates to find the right resource for clients. She develops innovative strategies using research and the latest recruitment trends to provide recommendations to management on how to optimize and integrate these trends into daily practice, resulting in high-quality service to both our candidates and clients. Sarah has been an IT recruiter for more than 24 years in Connecticut and Maine, servicing clients such as Cigna, Fleet Financial, IDEX Laboratories, ING, LL Bean, Maine Medical Center, Mass Mutual, Pfizer, Puritan Medical Products, State of Connecticut, State of Maine, Unum, and WEX, among many others. She is successful in partnering with clients to develop a recruitment plan that identifies and attracts top quality candidates. A Maine native, Sarah earned her bachelor's degree from the University of Hartford. She is also an active volunteer with Junior Achievement. Sarah has been a pro searcher since 2004. Please join me in welcoming Sarah Davies.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you very much for having me this morning. As everybody knows, I am Sarah Davies from ProSearch. I've been with ProSearch since 2004, 19 years this year, and ProSearch is celebrating our 29th year this year in the Maine market. I didn't know, I'm considered a boomerang. When I came back to Maine, I didn't know if I was going to still be an IT recruiter. And it's been an amazing ride, and ProSearch has been an amazing partner to do it with amongst all of our other clients that I've been able to work with. I do focus on information technology. ProSearch itself has a couple other arms of business, temporary staffing, IT contract staffing, and the rest of my team does everything else direct hire outside of IT. So I'm on my own little island. The list of clientele is a big list. My bread and butter here in Maine is small to medium-sized companies. Those larger companies have, when they reach out to me, when their TA teams aren't able to find the right resource, they think I'm gonna find the purple unicorn. And so I get to play in the sandbox. But you know, it's been a lot of fun working with the small to medium-sized companies and really helping them find the right talent for their groups. So today we're going to talk about how to market yourselves, how to help you all in your companies find that right talent, and what I'm learning from my clients and what I'm learning from talent and what they're seeking, and how hopefully that might be able to help build your strategy. So we're going to talk about building your employment brand, the dynamics of today's market, critical steps in the recruiting and hiring process, and then tools to identify these candidates. When you think about building your employment brand, some of the critical things that you might want to think about and what are perceived in the market and how you're perceived internally from your employees. LinkedIn has been an amazing tool. We call it the business Facebook. And what that we're finding is both internally and external candidates are really focused on LinkedIn, your company brand, encouraging your internal employees to post about your company on LinkedIn, join relevant groups on LinkedIn, post updates, share articles, and encourage your internal employees to do the same. And that is what the external market is looking at and really taking to heart, and that's their first step. Facebook has been a successful tool for clients. It's definitely generational. And so it really depends on the clientele, the candidates that you're targeting. But it's been a great tool. It's continued to be a great tool for us. And Glassdoor can be the double-edged sword, but getting your internal employees to help market and help post and help create their story out there has really been a benefit to encouraging new employees to come into your environment. And then the industry journals. Many of our clients are having their internal employees write in journals and become part of the community. And the more out there, the professional community that you can become a part of, the more your brand gets out to prospective candidates. And like today, community engagement, locals, associations. We have found that more employers are, and I'll talk about it a little later, but more employers are shifting towards having a lot of flexibility and getting their employees out into the community and engaging. And who better to help sell your company and to help sell your brand than your existing employees? And as they're out there in the community, they're able to do this. In chambers and nonprofits, again, the community involvement, being able to participate, sponsor, and get out into these types of events like today are where you're able to get your name and brand out there. So employee engagement is another piece of building your brand internally, which is also going to be able to help it externally. Surveys, we have found that the more employees feel engaged with what is going on within their organization, the happier they become, and the happier they feel that they are really taking onus and being a part of building the organization. And through surveys, we're finding that organizations are able to bob and weave with what's going on in the market from what their employees are able to give back to them. Team meetings, whether that's, most of these team meetings are your smaller ones, not so much your larger ones. We leave those for the offsite activities, but the small team meetings are really being able to be collaborative, let people have a say. It's having a seat at the smaller table that is allowing employees to gain that confidence to build and to become part of the larger organization. And offsite activities have been an amazing way to get employees engaged within your organization, and again, help them be able to build that brand outside the organization. One example of that, we did an Outward Bound team meeting at Cow Island, and it was amazing. The things that we've learned about ourselves as a group, about our teams, about our organization, and we had done it the year before we became an ESOP. So now that we're an ESOP, the team building has taken on sort of a different path, just because we're all owners now and we all have a larger stake in the game. Identifying your company culture. This is where we are finding our clients are standing out right now in the market. If you are able to be in an organization where you can really bob and weave without disrupting the integrity of your organization, this is where people are really finding that future employees are looking at culture and building that company culture. Your mission and values of the organization are very important to a prospective employee. Consistency, having that cultural aspect that has retention has been a big focus for a lot of prospective candidates nowadays, especially those candidates that are coming back into our market that perhaps had left to go off to college, or again, me, the boomerang. And how that structure is, how your organization is structured, whether it's a non-hierarchical, is that more of a flat organization, or those that are hierarchical change of command. Those are really being taken very seriously by prospective employees in the market these days. Some critical steps in the recruiting process that we have found that have been making a difference as candidates are starting to make their way back into the market, or starting to get into the interview mode. One of those is targeting the right candidate profile. Some of the key tools to reviewing and refining some of who you are as a culture. Where do your top performers come from, and what was their culture like? And then the dynamics of today's market. did I fast forward too much? And then some of the dynamics of today's market being a low employment market versus a high unemployment market. This is where active versus passive candidates play a huge role. I was just mentioning at the table, long are the days gone where you can just post a job and pray for the right candidate to apply. It's really going out and researching and finding those candidates that that are going to fit your organization, and being able to really find that right fit. And that comes from doing research where your employees have come from and what those cultures look like in those companies. And what really motivates today's job seekers is frequent feedback, that positive, both positive and negative. We're finding that more job seekers now, if an interview didn't go well, they're wanting to know why. They're wanting to be able to shift how they're presenting themselves to get into the right organization. Feeling as though that they're contributing to a team and a larger enterprise has been a big shift into what we're finding from candidates and what we're hearing back from them and what they're seeking in their next role. Autonomy paired with some clear expectations and direction and outcome. So that falls into those hybrid workers. They want to have some autonomy, but they also want to have some clear road path as to what is expected of them. And community involvement, as we talked about, is a big one. The flexibility. Right now, we are finding from our clients, those that have not been able to adjust without compromising their company culture, those that haven't been able to adjust to the market from a hybrid or a full remote are finding themselves really struggling with finding good talent. And it's just, every job in the state of Maine really has become competitive nationally because of the pandemic. And our clients that haven't been able to shift or be able to get past having a successful remote worker or even hybrid remote worker are feeling that pain right now and trying to find and fill their gaps that they have currently in their employment. Some trending things that we're finding from companies that are really helping them. Flexible or doing away with vacation policy. So flexible PTO time. We, for instance, ProSearch, we don't have any sort of set PTO. So as long as our work is done, as long as we have some of our employees that are very comfortable and very successful in taking 6 weeks a year. There's others of us that only take 2. It ebbs and flows. From an IT perspective, a lot of my hiring managers that have these flexible vacation policies in place really only care that you're not taking a vacation during an implementation, during a key critical time. DXC is one of those big clients right now for us. They do a lot of the IT work over at BIW. And so they have no vacation policy, and that's been a real big draw for them to be able to find the right talent. When you think about how you're going through the recruitment process, some of the critical steps that really make everybody's job that much easier is being able to define a real business need for the position that you're filling. There is nothing more frustrating from an HR perspective, from a candidate's perspective, as the job ebbs and flows, the expectation of the job ebbs and flows as they start to go through the interview process. And so we're trying to get beyond just the description to really define the business need for the position that we're filling. And being realistic about the growth potential. Candidates nowadays are really looking for that third step ahead. This is where I'm at right now, but where am I moving to and how am I going to get there? And is this an organization that's going to help me do it? So that's been a big part of the process. Is there growth in the job? Slow growth, no growth organizations are having a hard time. So it's market right now. and coming up with a fair, compelling compensation plan right up front. Do you offer sign-on bonuses, relocation? Early review is sometimes critical to where a candidate is at as they're leaving their current role. Being able to find those best candidates and land them sooner rather than later. Is there a bonus plan that can create for the right person? Is there flexibility? Again, it all comes back to being able to bob and weave with the market without compromising your company culture. Identifying the must-haves and the nice-to-haves in evaluating alternative candidates. So when I get a wonderful 20-bullet job description, I'm literally sitting down with the hiring manager, asking them, what are the 5 or 6 that you're really looking for in a candidate? Because that 20-bullet job description is not in one candidate. So what are you really looking for? And does that really exist? Sometimes what your business needs are may not exist right now in the market, and it's just setting the expectation of how long that search is going to take. But once you're able to really identify those must-haves, or maybe you found the right cultural fit and they don't have some of the must-haves. Are you able to train, mentor, send them to class, whatever it might take to hire, as I call them, the best athlete? Because that will also give you a one-up in the market for sure. Again, the bobbing and the weaving. I guess that's my theme today, being able to just be flexible. And delivering that recruiting strategy. What does that look like? Where are you posting your jobs? How are you getting the word out there that you have an opening? Many of it is job boards, LinkedIn, networking. Where does your first touch look like with a candidate? Is that a human touch? Is that an AI? We're finding right now that the AI process is actually hurting some of the clients because candidates want to be able to have that human touch initially. Many of the larger organizations, it might be working just because of the number of candidate flow. But small to medium-sized businesses, it's the personal human touch that candidates are looking for sure. And then selling the opportunity. 9 times out of 10, I'm seeing companies post the 20-bullet job description, and candidates are just glazed by. They're not looking. It's really getting to know your hiring manager, like I said, and finding those 5 or 6, being able to post what's important, and then after that, sell on your company culture and talk about what's going on with your company and why a candidate wants to be there. I guess I went too far. Establishing a screening and interview process, having a consistent plan, talking to each candidate the same way is really a very big, it's a big hurdle for a lot of companies to get through, but it's really the best way to be able to try to compare each candidate from an apple-to-apple perspective. If you're asking the same candidates, each candidate the same questions, you're getting those different answers and being able to identify, is this a candidate that's going to be able to do the job and fit into our culture? Most of the time, we're finding that our clients are most hiring managers that's not their job, right? To interview. They're managing these big projects. They're managing what's going on, what's making money for the company, and then they're also having to hire. So if they have that guidance to be able to have a template and say, here's what we're looking for to find out from a candidate, and this is what we're going to ask every candidate going right along, is what we're finding is really helping them weed through and get the right candidate for their position. And then couple last points is having a two-way conversation. We're in a candidate's market. That candidate is interviewing you all just as much as you're interviewing them. And being able to have that conversation versus just a Q&A from a candidate's perspective has really turned the corner in making them be more engaged in the interview process. And so they have really shifted the market in the way that companies need to think about how they conduct their interviews. And lastly is determining an offer strategy, making sure that you all have a game plan in place for the right candidate and what that looks like. A lot of times HR can weed out some of those, as I used to call them, as you verbally wrap your arm around a candidate, you get what's important to them. Sometimes it's not just base salary. Sometimes it's the PTO. Sometimes it's the hybrid flexibility. Sometimes it's, your hours are 8 to 5, but if you have to leave at 3:30 for your kid's game, we're okay with that. Like, as long as work is getting done. Finding out those soft skills and what's important to a candidate and building that into your offer strategy has been a game changer for many of our clients as well. Oh, I guess my papers are all messed up. The dynamic of today's market, again, the low unemployment rate. These are some numbers from the end of last year, as you'll see, but it's across the board. Whether you're up north, whether you're in Portland or over in Auburn, we're still in a very low unemployment market. As much as it tends to feel from some employees' perspectives, but we are finding that the less employees means that you have to target those people that are being taken care of. And sometimes when they're being taken care of, you having that opportunity to provide them just a little bit more from what they're looking for in their current position is able to help them figure out, is this really the right move for me? And so that's where coming in, that we're looking at more passive job seekers in today's market than active job seekers. So hopefully, being able to dig out using the LinkedIn is really the biggest tool, the networking with the existing employees as well. And that will help be able to dig out those resources that everybody is looking for. Found those. And here, lastly, is finding and identifying that right talent. Number one is networking. That is what we are finding. Again, the days of posting and praying are gone. Networking within yourselves, networking within your own group, your employee group, here today within these organizations. Referrals, employee referrals. Again, who better to help sell your company than your existing employees? And they are the ones that, whatever the referral program may look like, cash, gift cards, there's been a ton of different, LOB has product. So there's definitely a lot of different ways to be able to be creative around this piece. Job boards and resume banks. It's a little lower down my job list or my list of tools to go to, but they're still effective. I mean, candidates are definitely still going out there. They're still posting resumes. What I've actually found is, I actually just did a study of this last year. 30%, I think it was 30% of the candidates that I posted had old resumes out on job boards, like 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, and I had reached out to them because they had the right skill set. So don't be afraid to reach out to those old resumes because you never know where they are right now. LinkedIn and LinkedIn Recruiter. If you're an organization that isn't utilizing LinkedIn Recruiter, if you have the means to, it's my number one go-to. It's amazing. And it's a way to connect with anybody on LinkedIn and really dig in and find those right resources for the positions that you're looking for, and to build your network. Company website, of course, is very important. In the industry and association websites, so we post, if there's Puritan had a very specific industry for medical products. We were able to go out into their industry and post. We work with another university who looks for athletic trainers. They have a very specific website where all athletic trainers go and post and go and look for jobs. So finding that association website is certainly helpful, just another tool in your toolbox of how to identify those candidates. And then as you get a little lower on the skill set totem pole, working with your new graduates, working with your local universities and colleges and their career counselors, and internships. During the pandemic, which was very difficult for candidates to get internships, companies were hiring off from previous internships. I had an example of a Mid-Maine student who had a 3-month internship in 2019 before the pandemic. 2022, she landed her first job, and it was all from the experience that she had gained in that 3-month internship. And that was enough for her to do it. So those are some pretty key, and being able to retain those. Again, the bigger companies have a little bit of maybe a leg up because of budgets and sort of, but we have also found that those juniors, seniors that have done internships, companies will pay them a minimum wage through their senior year to keep them on board if they want to bring them on in May of their graduating year and offer them a full-time position. So that's a really creative way to be able to maintain some good new talent coming into the market. Does anybody have any questions for me? We've gone over a lot. There's a lot going on for sure.
Yeah, so when you talk about doing away with PTO policies, that is something that I'm intrigued by and something I've thought of. So 2-part question. One, how do you get buy-in from the top for something like that? And secondly, what are some of the cons of doing away with PTO policies?
Sure. So we have found getting the buy-in has really become the market shift, giving yourself an extra sort of leg up in the market compared to maybe some of your competitors around you. The second is it really instills the integrity of the person that you're hiring, right? And it puts a lot of onus on the management to be able to set with their team clear goals and clear expectations. We're finding that if, again, I'm from an IT background, so if you're having candidates schedule their vacations and you're a week out from an implementation, it's probably not good choices. So it does put the onus on management, but it also makes the candidate that much more engaged in their existing project.
What do you do if you're a brick and mortar or you are in manufacturing and you have a line that can't be disrupted by people taking time off? What are those industries doing to attract talent? Because you can't just have everyone off.
Right. No. So we have found, and I will use one of my most recent clients that I've had quite a bit of success with, Puritan, for example. They've been able to switch to monetary bonuses. They've been able to switch to maybe off-hour payment. They've been able to switch to different. You're right. They can't do just no PTO policy, and maybe it doesn't work for all organizations. But they've been able to bob and weave with other ways to get creative in keeping their employees engaged.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes, for sure. Thank you so much for having me.
We appreciate you being here, Sarah, and we have a little gift for you we'll present in a moment. I want to remind, I think almost everybody in this room is a chamber member, and as a member of our chamber, you can post your jobs on our online job board for free. We have about 250 jobs posted there right now, so if you're looking for a job, you can go look too. But I think the point I'm trying to get across is that we are marketing that job board. So we're doing Facebook posts and we're putting out banners and we're trying to push that. It's the front cover of the In Touch newsletter this month. So if you have a job, please post it. You should have a username and password. If you can't figure that out, just email it to Caitlin. She'll put it up for you.